Welcome. Yes, we're here. Another day of Bhagavad Gita Sadhana. I am so glad that you're joining in. As I've been mentioning, we are nearing the end of our year of growth and exploration of one of the most important topics we can explore, our true selves, and that's through the lens of the Bhagavad Gita. We've got some events coming up to both remind ourselves of the progress we've made, the joy we've had, the experiences we'll take away, and also to explore what could come next. And that's in the link right below. And speaking of what comes next, so yesterday we talked about the beginning of the end of this time together, and the beginning of the end of Krishna and Arjun's extremely close association that they have in the Gita. Now, they do stay in touch afterward, and I mentioned that a lot of times people's study of the Gita stops with the end of the Gita, but so much more goes on in the Mahabharata that can really help us with our lives. So today I'm talking about another topic related to chapter 17. It's the chapter on Shraddha, faith that's been tested. And I thought I'd give you a little hint of a little story. As we come toward the end of our time together, some of you may not realize just how much I love telling stories. And those of you who do may be like, where have all the stories been? So here's one. And the thing to remember is that there are many different versions of the Mahabharata, which is one of the major epic poems of the East. And it's huge, 10 times longer than the Bible. So there's a lot of to tell even one simple story often requires a real summary, and some of the details may be different. But doesn't mean it's wrong or right, especially if it conveys a truth related to chapter 17, faith. And I'm mentioning this because I get the feeling from some of you that the end of this means the end of our connection. And it doesn't have to mean that. Krishna and Draupadi. So Krishna, Arjun's best friend and spiritual advisor in the Gita, has a very special relationship with Arjun's wife, Draupadi. And Draupadi is one of the people that early on really saw Krishna for who he was, at his soul, at his core, at the heart of his being. And according to one story, when they were young, Krishna got a little wound on his arm. And Draupadi, seeing that wound, tore a piece of silk from her very fine sari and used that to bind his wound. And Krishna looked at her and said, "You didn't have to do that for me. You know who I am, but I will never forget this gesture." And Draupadi said, "No problem," and went on her way. Well, one of the incidents that sparked the war of the Bhagavad Gita is that at one point, Duryodhana, who is kind of the bad guy of this story and who represents absolute selfishness, takes Arjun's wife by the hair when she's on her menstrual period, bleeding through her clothing, and drags her in front of an assembly of the royal people, the sole purpose of humiliating both her and Arjun and all of Arjun's brothers. And his brother, so Duryodhana's selfishness, and his name means dirty fighter, literally. His brother, Dushasana, whose name means bad advice, literally. Dushasana and Karna, friends of Duryodhana, urged Duryodhana, selfishness, to strip Arjun's wife. And they are actually sexually pretty explicit with her, what they're hoping to do with her. And Draupadi, in that moment, now just think of how many of us would react to that. Anger, fear, cowering, dissociating. Draupadi remembers her faith in her special friend Krishna at that moment. And even though they haven't seen each other for a bit, and even though he's at a great distance, with her faith, she calls out to him and asks for his help. Oh, as the moment of the assault arrives, Dushasana grabs onto Draupadi's clothing, her sari, seeking to rip it off of her and expose her naked to everybody. He starts to pull on the sari, and it starts to unwind from Draupadi's body. He continues to pull. The sari continues to unwind. He continues to pull. The sari continues to unwind. He continues to pull, and the sari continues to unwind. And there's stacks of silk and cloth piling up all around him. And he pulls and he pulls. He starts to sweat. His limbs get weak from all the pulling. He collapses from exhaustion, and yet still, there she is, wrapped in the silk. And there's a wonderful vision of this given in Peter Brook's film, Mahabharat. And that is of Krishna standing there, holding a roll of silk for her sari over his arm. And in the Mahabharat itself, it said that this is Krishna repaying Draupadi for the kindness of ripping her own sari and sharing her silk with him, that he has never forgotten. So even as we come to the end, can you have faith that I won't forget you, that you won't forget this time of connection, and that we are still connected? Can you have faith in yourself that whatever good deeds, however small you might think they are serving and supporting you? Connection goes beyond time and place, true connection. And we have to have our faith in that, the Shraddha described in chapter 17. So with that in mind, one, for me, really tangible demonstration of faith is, I plan to do this thing, and people, of course, I've mentioned, are like, you are so out of your mind because the Cleveland weather is just going to destroy you. And I don't know if it's my face supporting me or not, but we have had one of the mildest years I can remember as far as the winter. I mean, you might have seen me sitting in snow and gone, oh my gosh, that poor person is suffering. But really, it's been much colder. I didn't have to be out in a blizzard. And even the summer wasn't that hot. Did my faith support me? Maybe. Well, it's supporting me today. Let it support you as well. Faith in the practice. We'll start with our balance pose as usual. And remember, faith in your ability to know what you can and need to do to take care of yourself. I'll be right back. Have faith. All right. 5 minutes. You can stay inside all comfy cozy. I'm going outside. I invite you to contemplate a time when your faith supported you through something that seemed impossible. Ooh, start. There we go. Welcome back. And I wonder what came to your mind. What came to my mind is, not just the temperature weather, but the days that the rain actually stopped just for the time of this practice. And the fact that the power didn't fail. The internet has been remarkably consistent for this year. So I feel that the faith I took in taking this leap sustained me. Hopefully you can feel that too. And with the wonders of technology, at some point you may be watching this when I've left the corporal body. But like Krishna, know that if you need help, if you need me, you can reach out. If I'm available, however that availability may be, I will respond. And if I'm not, I'll say, I'm sorry, not now. But I have faith that you'll get the support you need. And I have faith that we'll connect again. See you soon.